Over the past couple of years, electric cars have really gained in popularity. No surprise there. In fact, we can pretty much consider EVs mainstream at this point. If we look at Tesla, Tesla over the past 12 months has delivered over 1 million EVs. And now you have BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen really ramping up their EV programs as well. There's GM with the Ultium platform and cars like the Cadillac Lyriq, and there's Ford with the Mustang Mach-E and the Ford F-150 Lightning, which has just gone into production. So there are numerous benefits to electric vehicles: lower maintenance, no fuel, right? And in some cases, many cases actually, they're cheaper to operate than a standard gas vehicle. But now you're beginning to hear EV manufacturers talk about other benefits to electric vehicles. So one you might have heard of is EV to home charging. That's right, using an EV to power your home. So why would anyone do that? Well, in the event of a power outage, you could use your EV theoretically to power your home until the power is restored. But it's not quite that simple. Yes, you can use it to power your home, but yeah, there are some things that you really need to be able to enable that feature. So we're going to look at that in this video today and talk about what EV to home charging is, why you might consider it, and what's involved in it. There have already been announcements from Volkswagen and Ford about using their EVs to power the home. In Volkswagen's case, they're going to enable the functionality at the end of this year, 2022, on their VW electric models via over-the-air software update. But there's a caveat. This functionality will only be enabled on VW electric models that have 77 kilowatt hour or larger batteries. And why is that the case? Well, homes typically have large power requirements, and therefore the electric car, the VW electric car, must be able to provide enough power to meet the power requirements of the home. In Ford's case with the F-150 Lightning, the F-150 Lightning has quite a large battery at over 100 kilowatt hours. And by Ford's claims, you can power a home fully for 3 days using the F-150 Lightning's batteries. But in a case of modest power requirements, you can actually power the home for up to 10 days using the F-150 Lightning's battery. So how does it all work? Okay, well, we're going to take a look at that. And the example that I have is actually something that might not look like it's related to EVs, but it's actually quite closely related to EVs. Here we have an example of a solar panel on a rooftop. And to make it all go is sunlight. So the sun's light energy is converted to electricity, which is used to power the various devices and appliances inside the home. But there are some other things that are happening that makes this system quite flexible. So, for example, if we look at number 3, there's a battery connected to this particular home. And why is that the case? Well, there are periods when the solar panel is generating excess electricity, and that electricity, you need to do something with it. Otherwise, it would go to waste. So it could either be sent back to the electric grid for the electric utility to distribute to another home, or it can be stored in a battery that we have in this example here in number 3. And that battery is important because it can be used to provide electricity without relying on the electric grid. So that could be during heavy usage periods, say in the evening when everyone's watching TV or using the washing machine, or it could be used during a power outage to basically provide power to the home when there is no power from the electric grid. So this is a good example here, and it does relate quite closely to the EV to home charging solution or the bidirectional charging solution, meaning that you can charge the EV from the home using the home's electricity or using the EV to power the home using the EV's battery. Okay, so how does that relate to connecting an EV to power the home? Well, it's really no different than the solar panel itself. The EV is actually a power source in this situation here. So we're going to look at another example of the role that the EV plays. Here we have the same example of the home with the solar panel installed on it, as well as the battery storage. But now we've added the EV charger and the EV into the solution. So typically we would use the home's electric connection to the EV wall charger, which then charges the EV. But in the case of charging the home With the EV, which is called bidirectional charging, we would have to take that EV charger and go into the inverter so that the electricity from the EV is converted by the inverter in order to power the home. So that's how bidirectional charging works. So in the case of the F-150 Lightning, Ford has announced that you can use the F-150 Lightning to power your home, but it's not quite that straightforward. They've partnered with Sunrun, who is a solar energy company that installs solar panels and solutions onto homes and to commercial businesses as well. And in order to be able to connect the F-150 Lightning to the home, they have a solution in order to be able to do that. And so what you would need is what's called a $3,800 home integration system from Sunrun. Actually, correction, that's $3,900. So the Ford F-150 Lightning has an MSRP of $37,900, and in order to power the home, there's an additional $3,900 option that has to be considered. Well, why would anyone do that? That's a very good question. Someone could invest in putting a solar panel on their rooftop to accomplish the same goal as the F-150 Lightning. So it really is a question of what is the benefit. The average home solar system costs about $15,000 to $20,000 with installation, and that doesn't include federal and state rebates for installing solar on the home, which varies by state. So the question is for the homeowner, do I want to invest in solar or do I want to have my vehicle power the home? In either case, an inverter is needed. So if there is no solar on the home, when purchasing an electric vehicle with the goal of powering your home, an inverter is still needed. So in order to accomplish this this EV to powering your home solution, that is what's needed. Again, solar provides the benefit of generating power under reasonable conditions, so partly cloudy skies to sunny skies, and that might work in many parts of the country where it's very sunny. So for example, Florida, Texas, and California, but maybe not work so well where there's not a lot of sunlight during much of the year. So maybe the northern parts of Canada, for example, especially if the days are short. But in a situation where there's lots of sunlight, it might make sense to just use solar panels to power the home. In a situation where there's not lots of sunlight and maybe weather conditions are quite severe at times, there is the option of having your EV power your home. Now, of course, that's for a few days, maybe up to 1 week if possible, but at some point that EV is going to need to be charged. So hopefully power will come back within that time and there's no real disruption to the quality of life or comfort of life in your home. So hopefully that's given you a real good idea of what EV to home charging is all about, what goes into it, and what are the considerations that need to be made for it. So thanks for checking out this video. Please let me know what you think. Leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching.